Deep beneath the rusted radar dish of Camp Hero on Long Island, a heavy secret breathes. In the 1970s and 80s, rumors emerged of a spooky series of experiments known as the Montauk Project. It was a dark continuation of the Philadelphia experiment, focusing on mind control, time travel, and the thinning of reality itself. The project allegedly centered on the Montauk chair, a high-tech seat connected to a massive transmitter. Psychics, most notably Preston Nichols and Duncan Cameron, would sit in the chair. Their heavy thoughts were amplified by the radar, physically manifesting objects out of thin air or tearing spooky holes in the fabric of space-time. The spooky power of the chair was terrifying. If Duncan thought of a solid object, it would appear on the base. This thought-to-matter technology was the ultimate weapon for a secret government. It was a heavy bridge between the human mind and the physical world, a mystery that suggested our consciousness is the master blueprint of the universe. Then came the time tunnel. Theorists claimed the Montauk scientists successfully stabilized a wormhole that allowed them to send teams into the heavy past or the uncertain future. Soldiers were allegedly sent to Mars or the 1940s to alter history. It was a spooky game of chronological chess played by shadow masters beneath the New York soil. The project turned dark with the Montauk boys. It is whispered that runaway children were kidnapped and subjected to heavy psychological conditioning. Their young minds were broken and rebuilt to serve as psychic soldiers or sleeper agents. This spooky exploitation of the innocent is the heaviest stain on the legend of Camp Hero. In 1983, the project reportedly self-destructed during a final experiment. Duncan Cameron allegedly manifested a spooky creature from his subconscious, a beast that began to tear apart the base. To stop the carnage, the heavy power cables were cut and the time tunnel collapsed. The project was deleted, and the base was sealed in concrete and silence. Skeptics point to the lack of physical evidence. They claim Camp Hero is just an old coastal defense site. But the heavy titanium doors that remain welded shut and the unexplained power surges in the local grid suggest a spooky infrastructure exists deep underground. The Montauk Project is the labyrinth of the Long Island Sound. The project represents the hubris of science. It is a story of radar, dishes and broken minds, a puzzle that proves that the spooky can be manufactured in a lab. Montauk was the cradle of high strangeness, a heavy reminder that when you stare into the void eventually manifests a beast to stare back at you. Is it the real Stranger Things? The hit TV show was originally titled Montauk and was inspired by these heavy legends. The spooky parallels, the girl with psychic powers, the government lab, the upside down, are all pop culture echoes of the stories told by Preston Nichols. The Montauk Project has become the modern myth of the American deep state. Today, Camp Hero is a state park, but the spooky atmosphere remains. Hikers report heavy feelings of dread near the old radar tower. Some claim to hear metallic voices echoing from the sealed bunkers. The mystery of the Montauk Project is a heavy story of forbidden tech and missing time that refuses to be unplugged from our imagination. The final mystery lies in the survivors. Men like Al Bielek claimed to be time-traveling employees of the project. Their spooky accounts of the future were filled with heavy detail, though they were often dismissed as madmen. But if even 1% of their story is true, then the history we live in is a managed reality created in a Long Island chair. The Montauk Project is a masterpiece of conspiracy horror. It is a tale of psychic anchors and temporal rifts, a puzzle that will never be solved as long as the lower levels remain flooded or filled with sand. It is the heart of the secret, a mystery that proves that the heaviest secrets are buried right beneath our feet, in the quiet of a coastal park. As the fog rolls off the Atlantic tonight, look at the radar dish at Camp Hero. Think of the chair and the boy who could see through time. The mystery of Montauk is a spooky reminder that reality is a fragile thing. It is the static and the signal, a mystery that will remain as long as the void continues to wait for us to turn the power back on. One dark lead involves the frequency used by the radar. Locals in the 80s reported mass mood swings and spooky dreams whenever the dish rotated. This heavy manipulation of the collective psyche was supposedly a side effect of the project's mind control research. They weren't just watching the sky. They were broadcasting into our brains. The Montauk beast is said to still roam the woods of Long Island. Every time a strange carcass washes up on the beach, like the Montauk monster of 2008, the heavy connection to the lab is revived. Is it a spooky escaped experiment or a natural mutation? The beast is the living symbol of a project that played God with the DNA of the universe. Is the project still active in a different location? Some believe the heavy equipment was moved to a black site in the Nevada desert. This spooky transition allowed the master architects to continue their chronological war without the prying eyes of New York hikers. Montauk was just the beta test for a global time management system. The Philadelphia experiment link is the spooky spine of the story. If the USS Eldridge really vanished in 1943, then Montauk was the natural evolution of that heavy failure. It was the attempt to stabilize the chaos of invisibility. The Montauk project was the anchor that finally caught the ghost ship of history and pulled it into the present. The heavy reality of the theory is its inescapability. If time can be altered, then every mystery in this list could be a Montauk intervention. The spooky truth is that we would never know. We are the passengers of the timeline, while the Montauk project is the engineer. It is a mystery of power and perception that defines our managed world. Today, researchers use ground-penetrating radar to find the hidden tunnels at Camp Hero. They find heavy anomalies, unexplained voids, and spooky metallic structures hundreds of feet down. The Earth is hiding a giant machine. The Montauk project is a mystery of soil and solenoids, a story that reminds us that history is just a frequency we can tune. As you stand on the cliffs of Montauk tonight, listen for the hum. It is a low-frequency vibration that isn't the wind and isn't the waves. It is the heavy heartbeat of a dead project that refuses to stay deleted. The Montauk mystery is a spooky masterpiece of the unknown, a puzzle that will remain as long as the radar continues to point toward the stars. The final chapter is written in the eyes of the disbelievers. To believe in Montauk is to accept a heavy world of secret wars and psychic slaves. It is a spooky burden to carry. But the Montauk project is more than just a story. It is a mirror of our anxiety about science and state. It is the ultimate mystery, the one that explains all the others. The Montauk boys, who are now men, still tell their spooky stories in hushed tones. They speak of heavy trauma and flickering memories of a metal room and a glowing tunnel. Their broken lives are the human cost of the great work. The Montauk project isn't just about time. It's about the souls that were lost in the machinery of the shadow. The beast from the ID is the spooky moral of the story. It proves that our inner demons can become physical if we have the heavy technology to manifest them. The Montauk project was a warning from the subconscious. It told us that some gates are meant to stay closed, and some chairs are meant to stay empty for the safety of the world. The story of Montauk is a masterpiece of psychological science fiction. It is a tale of amplitudes and absences, a puzzle that proves that the spooky is just science we haven't declassified yet. The project is the sovereign of secrets, a mystery that will continue to haunt the Long Island night as long as there is power in the radar of our dreams. The Al Bielek tapes remain the heavy gospel of the theory. His spooky voice describes a future that is both terrifying and inevitable. Whether he was a hero or a huckster, he created a mythology that has shaped our conspiracy culture for 40 years. The Montauk project is the black hole of the paranormal. Everything eventually gets pulled into it. The final mystery lies in the radar dish itself. Why is it still there? Most obsolete military tech is scrapped, yet the heavy iron of the Montauk dish remains a protected landmark. This spooky preservation suggests it may still have a use. It is the ear of the project, still listening for the return of the time travelers who were lost in the void. The spooky legacy of Montauk is its persistence. It is a story of digital shadows and concrete seals, a puzzle that proves that the truth is a heavy thing that eventually breaks through the concrete. The Montauk project is the last mystery of the 20th century, a story that vibrates through the heavy air of New York, forever active and unfound. As the moon rises over Camp Hero tonight, the shadows are long. The Montauk mystery is a heavy presence in the park's spooky history. It is a reminder that some exits are temporal. The chair is waiting for the next Duncan, and the void is waiting for the next. Manifestation. The project is sleeping, but it is not dead. The story ends where it began, with a hiss and a blue light. The Montauk project is a mystery that doesn't need a reveal to be heavy. It is the constant presence in the deep state of our minds. It is the heaviness in the air. A mystery that reminds us that the future was already built in a lab on Long Island in 1983. The final chapter is written in the static. It is the sound of a frequency that has no source. It is the spooky echo of a time tunnel that is still open somewhere in the underground. The Montauk Project is the ultimate mystery, a story of the taken and the timeless, a puzzle that will remain as long as the radar continues to watch the end.